Hey everyone. I've had a few people ask me about how to remove the safety on the Beretta 92X Performance. Um, it is a little tricky, and you do either need a couple specialty tools or you need to get a little inventive. I got a little inventive and it works just fine. You're not going to mess the gun up or anything. A couple other specialty tools will help, of course, but not 100% necessary. So let's get into it. I've already taken off the grips here. You'll need to do that to do this. And as always, um, before working on a gun, make sure it's unloaded. And it is. So we're going to go ahead and take off our slide because we don't need that right now. And since this goes so far, I'm also going to show you how to remove the hammer on the 92X Performance as well. It's only a couple more steps, and it's a little more in-depth than removing a standard hammer on a standard 92 series. So let's get started. First thing we need to do is remove the hammer pin. Now most of the Berettas use an actual pin, but the one on the Performance model is a roll pin. At least it is on mine. So while some of them you'll be able to get off with just pushing in the little hammer pin cap and then pushing it through with a punch, I can't do that with mine. If you can do that with yours, great, but mine will not do that. So let's get this out here. And once you see there you go. Once you see the hammer spring cap pop down just a little bit like that, you should be through. So just be careful at this point. You've got your punch through there, so nothing's going to happen right now, but it's still, I still prefer to keep my thumb over the cap until I've got the spring pressure released. So we do that. And there went my roll pin. Just easily release that. And there you go. And we can go ahead and just dump out our spring as well. If the spring looks different than yours, it is a Wilson Combat lightened hammer spring, so that's why. And here is the roll pin that I just dropped. Nothing special about it, but like I said, most 92s have a regular steel pin instead of a roll pin. I don't know why they went with a roll pin on the Performance model, but there you go. Okay, we're going to go ahead and take off our slide catch here. To do that, we just want to rotate upward until this little section is over top of this part right here. And then we'll pull outward. Don't pull all the way out at one time because there is a little spring in here that is retained. And you can see it starts rotating down. Once we get to that point, just be careful not to scratch your gun and let it roll all the way down to release that spring tension. Then we can lightly remove that and then upward to remove that spring. You can see there's a little hook on it there. That hook goes in this little hole right here. Comes out like that. This little hook is also what you see right there on the trigger pin. So when you remove that, you can take the trigger pin out. Not going to do that quite yet. First, we want to take out the spring for the trigger bar here. To do that, if you've got fingernails, just put your fingernail over the top of it a little bit and go toward that and pull outward, just like that. And then we can just pull upward a little bit to get this round part, like so, out of that little slot right there. And then same with that other side, there's just a little hook that retains that, goes in this little hole here. And we'll set that off to the side. Now we want to take our trigger pin out, which is right here. But we want to be careful because there is that spring right there, and the trigger pin holds that spring as well. So if you just push the trigger pin through, that spring is going to go flying and you'll probably have to buy another one because you won't find it. So what I like to do, I just put my thumb over that area like that. You can also get like a paper towel and just stuff in there if you're worried about the spring hurting your finger, but it shouldn't do that because we are not in single action right now, so there's not as much spring tension on that spring. But we just want to take our punch, push it out from this side, like so, and then we will pull our punch back through, and there we go. Now the spring in there is loose, and here's that pin. You can see it only goes one way. It's got a little head on the end of it. That's the side that goes in this part. We'll set that aside. And there you can see our little spring right there. I usually just grab some tweezers to pull that out. Okay, now the hard part. I think this is what trips most people up. It's this little roll pin right here. This is what holds both sides together, and it's what lets both of them flip up and down at the same time. If you haven't seen my previous video, I did change the right side to the small lever and the left side to the extra large lever. They're both available from the Beretta USA website. And you can see that video for my thoughts on those. And I'm probably going to be working on this side here in just a little bit. But anyway, to remove these, you're going to have to take out that punch. The problem is there's not a hole that big on the other side. All we have is this tiny little hole right here. And I have a couple different punch sets. The smallest one in both of them was a 1/16 of an inch, and they are too large. What I ended up doing is getting just a simple little brad nail. You need something that is between a 20th and a 25th of an inch, I believe. Basically something around 0.04. That's a 20th. So what we're going to do is we're going to take that, I might be wrong on my math there. I'm questioning myself. Anyway, not important right now. We're going to take the little brad nail and we're going to put it in that hole. Or we're going to try to. There you go. And as you can see, even that is a pretty tight fit. According to my calipers, the largest point on this was about 0.049. So take that for what it's worth. Now, this is a pretty small little pin, so we can just set it like that. And you can do this without a roll pin starter punch like you see here, but it's a lot easier if you use one of these. So just slide it in over the tip, just like so. If I can stay in focus, there we go. And get it in the hole here. And that will give you something easier to hit on. And it's not under a whole lot of tension, so just a couple light taps and it will pop right out. And there you go. Now, to do the rest of this, we're going to take this side off first, the left side, and you should be able to just pull straight out. You might need to wiggle it a little bit because there is a detent under there, but it should be captured. It shouldn't shoot out at you or anything, and I'll show you why in a second here. There we go. And we're loose. Here's what that looks like. And here you can see that detent I was talking about right there. That detent interacts with these two little grooves right here, and it's what gives you that clicking sound and the positive on off of the safety. Now, to get the other side out, we actually need to lightly pull on the trigger bar like so. And since we took the spring off of the trigger, that's pretty easy to do. You'll pull the front part out first, and then the back part can come out by pulling it forward. There you go. Now, all we need to do here is just pull straight out. And like you can see, there's the detent still. It did not come out, but just be conscious of that whenever you're taking it apart to make sure it doesn't fly across the room. There's not a whole lot of spring tension under it whenever it's not underneath that other safety or other side of the safety, but just be aware of it. And there is what that looks like. And we're going to go ahead and take our little detent out here. And if the spring comes with it, just keep track of that. There you go. And now most Berettas, you would be able to just take the hammer out at this point. But the performance model has a little bushing that you can see right there. You can see there's a little black piece in between the frame and the hole there. So that's a little bushing that's actually retaining the hammer. So to take that out, it's pretty easy. All you need is just normal punch, slightly larger punch, and you can just push it through. Shouldn't even need a hammer to do that. And your hammer is out. And here's that little bushing. And the only other things you could possibly want to do is to maybe take out the sear. I'm not going to do that in this video, but it's the same as any other Beretta 92 series. So if you do need to know how to take that out, you can refer to one of those other videos. There's hundreds of them. But that is how you take apart a Beretta 92X Performance. And triggers loose in there. So anyway, that's how you take apart a Beretta 92X Performance. And I will be uploading another video here shortly to show you how to put it back together, hopefully. All right, thanks for watching.